Only 2 events into QxQ, and we've already seen history being made by the Maze Runners last event, but today we have a brand new challenge, well, not a brand new to them, but brand new to the rest of these teams, in Quadrilla Descent. Hello everyone, I am your host Quack, and you can see, well, now you can see this tower that these teams will be descending, and Descent is the name of the game here. You have to get as far down as this tower as you can without falling off or getting stuck. This event has been seen in the Quadrilla Marble League, and it's appearing here as well. And you can see this long bracket-style event that we will be having today, rather than the Quadrilla Race last event, which was all about speed and had lots of contenders. But we'll be beginning at the very first round with the Brainstorms and the Malware Monsters in this very purple matchup. The Malware Monsters currently 5th in the standings, looking pretty solid. Ooh, but the Brainstorms already lost one there. It looks like they've already got a couple stuck as well. Meanwhile, the Malware Monsters looking good here. Still have all 4 of their marbles going, and you can see how this event works. You want to get as many marbles down as you can. It looks like the Malware Monsters and the Brainstorms will both get one marble stuck around the 7 there. And you can see as we pan back up, the Brainstorms had a couple really early losses that I believe guarantees they will not be moving on. The Brainstorms have not gotten top half in either event yet, and I don't think they're going to be doing it here. 19-32 will be the score for the first match, and the Malware Monsters already solidifying another solid performance from them. Now we can see as we move on to the next matchup, the Overdrives versus the Ferrofluids. There is that bonus point I forgot to mention. For getting all the way to the bottom of the tower, you get 10 instead of 9. Ooh, it looks like the Overdrives lost one immediately there, and that's already not a good sign. But they still have 3 moving. Both teams do, actually. Oh, the Overdrives have one stuck, and the Ferrofluids lose one as well. This is going to be a close matchup, but those 2 finishers there for the Ferrofluids, I believe, seals the deal. It's going to be at least a little bit close, I think, but the Ferrofluids just caught up at that last moment, those last few layers, and right there we saw the Brainstorms have a similar problem. The Overdrives just lose one immediately, and 30-22, not quite as close as I thought, but the Ferrofluids will comfortably be moving on there. They're a team that's gotten top half in both events so far, and like the Malware Monsters, they will be moving on. Now we move on to the Phantom Flames versus the Blade Masters. Currently, the Phantom Flames very low in the standings. Would like to get a good result here, and so far they're looking pretty decent. Nobody losing. Oh, look right there. The Phantom Flames lost 3. Meanwhile, the Blade Masters still have all of theirs going. The Phantom Flames lose their 4th as well, and the Blade Masters will get all 4 of their marbles down. A perfect score for them, and a disaster for the Phantom Flames. They didn't get anyone past, I believe, the 6, or perhaps that was the 5. Either way, that was not a good run from them at all. 3 of their marbles getting stuck on that very second layer, and a 2-2-2-4 is a disastrous run for them. They will be losing by 30 points to the Blade Masters. Now we move on to the Order of Aura versus Mach 5 in this blue matchup. We'll see. The Mach 5 won the first event and got dead last event. Oh, the Order of Aura lose 2 immediately, and that already pretty much guarantees the Mach 5 will be moving on. But the Order of Aura, what happened to them? And they, I believe, will get one to the end. Yes, they will. But 3 finishers for Mach 5. That's still a very respectable performance from them. They will be comfortably moving on here. No questions asked. And you can see a lot of teams have been struggling with getting out of that gate cleanly. And there's a lot of these gates where it's difficult to get very far down the ramp. And a 35-17, not quite as crazy as what we saw from the Blade Masters and Phantom Flames, but still an absolute knockout for Mach 5. Now we move on to Team Toucan versus the Luna Moths. Currently, the Luna Moths have the point lead despite not having a gold medal yet in the first 2 events. Right now, though, it looks like Team Toucan have already had some early losses, as have the Luna Moths. Neither team getting a ton down here, and it looks like it will be 2 finishers apiece. Oh, that one Team Toucan marble catching up at the last moment, and I believe that seals the deal. It's going to be close, though. I think Team Toucan had some early losses, but oh, as we pan up, the Luna Moths also had one stuck in the very first layer, and that's not a great sign for them. It seems like Team Toucan will be moving on here. Surprisingly, they haven't been doing so great in the first couple events, but 35-26 will be a pretty solid win for them. Luna Moths, not what they want to see, trying to contend for the point lead at the moment. With only 8 events, every event counts. Now we move on to the Lucky Clovers versus the Snow Skaters. As we've already seen, the Snow Skaters looking pretty solid so far. Oh, the Lucky Clovers lose 2 immediately, and the Snow Skaters really just have to coast from here on out. The Lucky Clovers lose their last marble there. I believe that was on the 5 layer. That was not a good run at all from the Lucky Clovers. One of the worst that we've seen. And as we pan back up, the Snow Skaters did have one early loss, but an absolute disaster of a run for the Lucky Clovers. What happened to them? They're already not looking good in these first couple events. It looks like it's only going to get worse. A 26-8, only 8 points for the Lucky Clovers. That's heartbreaking for them. Meanwhile, 2 finishers for the Snow Skaters looking pretty solid. Usually not the greatest in team events, at least back in QMC, but evidently they've been working on it. Now, the Maze Runners versus the Frostbites. The Maze Runners have been the ones to watch for the tournament so far, and the Frostbites lose one immediately. Not a good sign for them. Meanwhile, the Maze Runners still have all of theirs going. That's a great sign for them. Oh, it looks like they almost got stuck, but the Frostbites will dislodge them. Perhaps a bit of a good sportsmanship there, but either way, it will be an easy victory for them. 3 finishers, 1 caught on the 7 layer there, and really, it's no questions asked. The Maze Runners will be moving on. The Frostbites Frostbites didn't have much to show for it this match. They did have some decent teamwork moments earlier on, but a 15-point loss, 37-22, is really one of the most comfortable knockouts we've seen. That is not a great sign for the Frostbites. Now we move on to the final matchup of round 1, the Ash Flowers versus the Gold Doubloons, and we'll see how these two teams fare. And it looks like they're willing to get everybody past the one layer. The Gold Balloons lose 2 immediately right there. And now that the Ash Flowers still have 2 going, it's going to be close, though. The Ash Flowers, it looked like they had a couple losses early on. And the Ash Flowers have struggled quite a bit the first 2 events. We'll see if they can fare any better. It looks like they had one on the 1 on the 2. And I'm not sure how that's going to compare. I think they'll still win with those finishers. But the Gold Doubloons definitely made it close. And a 23-18, it will be a victory for the Ash Flowers, despite the Gold Doubloons being a little bit more consistent with their 2 and 3 compared to the 1 and 2. But either way, the Gold Doubloons, that one marble fell off in shame there. They will get 9th place thanks to that differential. Meanwhile, the Phantom Flames, an unsurprising dead last with that 40-10. But you can see the losses are based on differential rather than the raw point total. But now we move on to the next round with the Malware Monsters and Ferrofluids very high in the standings, both going to be facing off in the first matchup of round 2. And we can see them here. These were the medalists in Event 1, at least other than Mach 5 were the gold medalists. But both of these teams haven't gotten to bottom half finish yet and already have guaranteed another one in this event. Meanwhile, it looks like the Malware Monsters have already lost 1, but the Ferrofluids have lost a couple now. They're both stuck, and this is going to be a close matchup. Oh, that last Malware Monsters marble is going to come in clutch. I think that guarantees the Malware Monsters will be getting a top 4 finish here. So far, the Malware Monsters have looked very strong these first couple events, and I believe this is going to guarantee another pretty solid performance for them, depending on how this goes here. Yeah, so 33-27, a relatively close match because of that 1-3 on the team, but that 1-4 on the Ferrofluids is really going to hurt them. They will not be moving on. Now we move on to the Mach 5 versus the Blade Masters. We'll see how these two teams can fare here. And it looks like the Blade Masters still have everybody moving. The Mach 5, I don't know where their other 2 went. They only have 2 going, though. And I think that already seals the deal. Blade Masters were perfect in round 1. They won't quite be able to say the same here. That 1 marble getting stuck on the 7. But a 37 will pretty comfortably, I believe, beat the Mach 5. It was a pretty solid run for Mach 5. They didn't look too bad, at least at first, but those 2 marbles must have gotten stuck higher up. I didn't even see them go off there, and a 14-point loss for them is going to be harsh. I believe that will probably get 8th place, depending on how these next couple rounds go. Oh, and that's where they were stuck there. They were caught, one of them just barely on the precipice of falling through, but didn't quite manage to do it. But now we move on to the Snow Skaters versus Team Toucan. We'll see how these 2 teams can fare. And it looks like nobody's going to get one of those 1 losses, but the Team Toucan did lose 1 on the 3. And while the Snow Skaters still have 3 moving, I think this is going to be a little bit close, but the Snow Skaters getting those 3 finishers, I'm pretty sure, will be enough to take the victory here. Yeah, none of those early losses were really quite devastating enough to keep the Snow Skaters from winning here. I'm pretty confident they will be moving on, depending on what the score comes up to be. And yes, it will. 31-26, another relatively close match. We haven't seen any get below 5, though. The margins have only gotten to 5, or they'll be larger. And we'll see now as we move on to the Ash Flowers and the Maze Runners for the final match of round 2, which one of these teams will be moving on. And it looks like the Ash Flowers have a couple stuck, as do the Maze Runners. Both of them have a couple stuck on those first few layers. They only have 2 moving apiece. This could be a very close match. Oh, but the Ash Flowers, that one there, oh, will they be able to roll it back? I think they will, yes, just barely. But this is going to be a very close matchup with 2 finishers apiece, and pretty much everyone else on the 1 or to the 2. Oh, that one Ash Flowers marble making it to the 2. I believe that guarantees that we'll win by 1 point. The Maze Runners, they almost had it there, but that 1 marble, they had 2 marbles stuck on the 2, or on the 1, I should say, and a 23-22, just barely. I mentioned there hadn't been any super close finishes yet, but here the Ash Flowers will just barely be able to take the win. So the Maze Runners will not be able to take a second gold in a row, but they will still at least get best of the rest with 5th place. So now we see our semi-finalists, the Malware Monsters, the Blade Masters, the Snow Skaters, and the Ash Flowers. As several of these teams a bit more surprising faces, but we start with the Blade Masters versus the Malware Monsters. The Malware Monsters have been so consistent and strong through these first couple events, and the Blade Masters have already lost 1 marble. It looks like another one's already gotten stuck, and I don't think it's a good sign for them. They really would like a great finish here, but I don't think it's going to happen, at least not a top 2. Meanwhile, the Malware Monsters getting a finisher here, I believe they've already sealed the deal. Getting either a gold or a silver here will be pivotal for them. Already 5th place in the standings, and they will definitely be moving up after this. And the Blade Masters have nothing to show for it. They're one of those teams that could definitely move up in the points if they just got a good result here, and they could definitely still fight for the bronze in the bronze medal match, but an 18-23, relatively low scoring across the board here, as now we move on to the Ash Flowers versus the Snow Skaters. The Snow Skaters perhaps trying not to melt under the presence of the Ash Flowers, but it looks like the Snow Skaters have already lost a couple at the very top, and that's not a great sign for them. Meanwhile, the Ash Flowers still have 3. Oh, now they only have 2 moving, but still, it looks like they will get 2 finishers. One of them fell into the catch basin, but unfortunately that's not going to count as a shortcut. But either way, the Snow Skaters losing those 2 immediately is pretty much going to guarantee they will not be taking the win here. And the Ash Flowers, 28-19, will be moving on to the finals. Surprising, probably the most surprising entry in the semifinals so far, and the Snow Skaters unfortunately will not be able to take their first QxQ gold. They've never won gold in QxQ and QMC, and I suppose they won't be winning gold in QxQ, at least not yet. But now we move on to the bronze medal match, the Snow Skaters versus the Blade Masters. Which one of these teams will come out on top? And it looks like nobody going to have a super early loss. Oh, the Blade Masters have 3 stuck right there, similar to the Phantom Flames earlier. Oh, but they have 1 that's still going. They will get a finisher here. Yes, they will, but it's going to be difficult to tell because of those 3 super early losses. Will the Snow Skaters be able to win just by a small margin? I'm not too sure. They did also have a couple at very high layers, but at least everybody getting past the 1 this time, I suppose. And they will not be able to take the win. The Blade Masters, despite only getting a 16 in this round, will be able to take the win 16-13. And by only 3 points, they will finally get a medal. But now we move on to the final, the Ash Flowers versus the Mauer Monsters. The Mauer Monsters have been so consistent so far. I've already guaranteed they're going to be pretty high in the standings, I imagine. Meanwhile, the Ash Flowers just playing for the spoilers here, really. But it looks like they both have a couple still moving. The Ash Flowers, oh, that 1 marble, I don't think they're going to be able to get it done. And this is going to be a close matchup here. They both have a lot stuck in the same places. And I really have no way to tell. They both had 1 finisher. And it looks like at the higher layers, the Ash Flowers, did they lose anybody? No, I don't think so. The Mauer Monsters did, though. And that will be the deciding factor. A 25-21. The Ash Flowers will take the gold medal in Quadrilla Descent. The Mauer Monsters came so close, they will have to settle for the silver. They've already gone to bronze. Perhaps next event they'll be able to complete the set, but either way they will have to wait to get their first QxQ gold. Meanwhile, the Blade Masters rounding out the podium, and the Mauer Monsters will be the first team here to get a repeat medal. There you can see the Ash Flowers happy to stand on top of that podium. They've been struggling so far these games, and they will definitely be moving up in the standings, up into 8th place from 15th, and that's very impressive for them, but still below Mach 5 even, who also have been struggling a decent bit outside their gold. But the Mauer Monsters jump to the point lead, the only team so far with 2 medals in the first 3 events. The Maze Runners hold on to 2nd, and the Luna Moths drop to 3rd. But of course, anything can change as we head into the next event, which will be the Quadrilla Trial, so stay tuned, and thank you for watching.